Your Eminence, Cardinal Tauran, revered sadhus and clergy, leaders of faith, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I offer a warm welcome to the BAPS Sri Swaminarayan Hindu Mandir, host of this historic seminar entitled Catholics and Hindus, the Practice of Compassion as a Contribution to Peace.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Salve Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, espes nostra salve.
Your Eminence, Cardinal Tauran, venerable faith leaders from the Hindu and Catholic communities, and distinguished guests, firstly, on behalf of our spiritual leader, His Holiness Pramukh Sai Maharaj, and the entire BAPS Swaminarayan community in the UK, may I extend a very warm and gracious welcome to the Cardinal, His Eminence John Louis Tauran. I'm reminded of Pramukh Sai Maharaj's words during his address at the United Nations Millennium World Peace Summit in New York in 2000. He said, "The unity of all faiths will make our common future strong and protected. Flourishing together by working together is the key to lasting peace. We must not progress at the cost of others, but sacrifice a part of ourselves for the good of others."
Interreligious dialogue, as we know, should serve the purposes of knowing and respecting each other's religious traditions and beliefs better, of seeing and appreciating the goodness and wisdom found in other religions, and of creating the conditions for all to live in peace and freedom. And in the process, interreligious dialogue should also help us to become persons who are more genuinely religious, better members of the society in which we live in, and overall better human beings who believe in the ultimate sovereignty of God over the world. At a time of social and economic crisis like the one we are presently going through, turning our thoughts on the notion of compassion has a renewed relevance. We need to rediscover the importance of compassion in our personal as well as collective lives as a means for preserving and promoting peace. In spite of the differences of positions and perceptions that mark our respective religious tradition, I do feel that both Hinduism and Christianity have a treasury of shared values of which compassion may be one of the foremost. So it is my wish and my prayer that by listening to our respective religious tradition on what they are to speak, to teach us about compassion, we may grow in our mutual understanding, appreciation, and trust, and be inspired to work together for justice, peace, and solidarity.
When thinking of compassion, the first, most vivid and personally touching example that comes to mind is that of Bhagwan Swaminarayan. When he was anointed as the head of the new religious fellowship that would soon become the Swaminarayan Sampradaya, he prayed for all his disciples. He said, "Even if it is the lot of a devotee to suffer from lack of food or clothing, or the pain of a single scorpion sting, let me instead suffer that pain 10 million-fold on every pore of my body, but may that devotee be saved from all suffering." There are also many other examples from Hindu traditions and texts of noble souls suffering or being ready to suffer on the behalf of others. The Bhagavad Purana tells of King Grantidev's extraordinary sacrifices to ensure that every one of his subjects, including the poor and even a stray dog, are fed and looked after. He too prayed not for material pleasures or mystical powers, but only that he could stay among the people and suffer their distresses on their behalf. Hinduism encourages the embrace of a wider, broader worldview, extricating us from the narrow confines of I and my to the universality of we and ours. It teaches that the whole world is one family, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that we are all the children of one eternal being, Amrutasya Vayam Putraha, and that our innermost core, we are actually spiritual beings in material bodies. We are all united by our spirituality, even while being of different colors, countries, and convictions.
A person is said to have merciful love when he has sorrow in his heart, being afflicted by sorrow at the misery of another as though it were his own. Hence it follows that he endeavors to dispel the misery of that other person as if it were his own. And this is the effect of merciful love. Being affected by sorrow at the misery of another as though it were his own. This then is compassion in the basic meaning of the word, to suffer with. But in the form of merciful love, such compassion does not just stop at the feeling of sorrow or pity for another. Rather, it moves on to dispel the misery of the other. Compassion, then, in the form of merciful love, is a powerful force that acts to relieve the misfortunes of others, to dispel the things that compromise their welfare, and to bring about their full flourishing as human beings.